Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2517. Today we're going to be talking about an amazing collection of motorcycles, so be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and today we'll say motorcycle enthusiasts. Welcome to Cars Yeah, although we're going to call it Motorcycles Yeah today because we are in a very special place with a very special person. I'm in Dallas, Texas with Stacey Mayfield. Stacey, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Thank you. I'm ready.
All right, we're going to have some fun. Now, before I give you an introduction and we announce some very exciting news of something that has been rejuvenated, I guess you will, with this wonderful museum that you're the director of, what's one little thing that people don't know about you, Stacey?
Well, I'm an open book, so there's no secrets with me really, but something that people don't know is that my father was a gold medalist in the Olympics in 1960.
Whoa, and what sport?
Track.
No kidding. What did he run?
He ran with all the greats, with Cassius Clay and Rome in 1960.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Wow.
And he is still around, and at 83 years old, at 70, he was diagnosed with AML, which is a form of leukemia, and given 3 months to live, and he found a match, a 12 out of 12 match, and he's still with us today because of that. So now in my spare time, not that I have a lot, I'm aggressively involved in a foundation that he started where we travel around the country and get people to swab to become part of the bone marrow registry.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. And what an amazing man he is. Absolutely. I just saw something online that a 100-year-old woman just broke the record in a track meet for females over 100. And
That's amazing. I didn't see that. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. I was like, holy cow. I can't imagine. I ran track in high school and I'm like, boy, if I'm fortunate enough to be able to run track when I'm 100, if I'm even around that long, that's pretty amazing. So your father lives the right kind of life, it sounds like. That's pretty fantastic.
He does. And he stays very active as founder of the foundation. So very proud of him.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he's very proud of you. So let me give you an introduction here. Stacey Mayfield is the director of the Haas Moto Museum. It's a Texas-based motorcycle museum that's named after its founder, Bobby Haas. Bobby and Stacey worked side by side, curating one of the world's most thoughtfully assembled collection of motorcycles, including an unparalleled custom collection, including acquisitions and commissioned bikes from around the globe. I mean, these bikes are insane. Followed by the death of Bobby Haas, she has kept a treasure trove of motorcycle history together and is proud to be reopening the Haas Moto Museum in a new, larger collection in North Dallas. She and her team proudly share not only these beautiful bikes, but the impactful story that every one of them tells. Stacey is also the executive producer of 2 documentary films documenting the life of and accomplishments of Bobby Haas, including Leaving Tracks and the soon-to-be-released Racing Mr. Fahrenheit. She recently released a beautiful book that's available on the website titled The Motorcycle, which chronicles the 13 decades of motorcycle history that are housed at the Haas Moto Museum. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsor, so give them a little love, and we'll be right back. Keep your helmet on. We're about to go for a great ride. Did you know that less than 3% of all automotive technicians in the United States are women? You may not be surprised, but you should be concerned because our country is facing a massive technician shortage right now. Skilled, qualified techs are in high demand, and we need young women and men to consider these careers as a viable path to a fulfilling life. I've interviewed hundreds of women in the automotive sector here on Cars Yeah, and I know that women make great techs. That's why I support the nonprofit TechForce Foundation and its Women Techs Rock initiative to ensure women see themselves in the profession, the industry, and the workforce. Learn more at techforce.org today. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. So, Stacey, we are back. So I want you to take us back a little bit in time, your involvement with Bobby and this collection of motorcycles, how this all came to be. Tell our listeners that don't know a lot about Bobby, about who he was, what his passion was about bikes. We'll talk about your passion. Obviously, you shared that passion with him. And then we'll get into what's going on with the opening of the museum, which is coming up here in just a few days, and what people can expect to see. And I'll tell listeners, I'll put links to the website, but they're easy to find. Haas, Haas Moto Museum. The website is spectacular, and the bikes are spectacular. So, Stacey, take it away.
I always refer to Bobby as a Renaissance man, and he would do things in 10-year increments. And after his success in the business world, he decided he wanted to do something that was not attached to money. And he decided to go to Africa and take some pictures. He had never taken any pictures before. And he was afraid of heights, but he chartered a helicopter and went up in the air and took amazing photographs all over Africa. National Geographic got a hold of some of those pictures and decided to do a book with him. And following that, he did 2 other books, Latin America and Antarctica. And so he became known as one of the world's first and best aerial photographers. It was way before drones. So that was his second career. And then at 64, he decided to get on a motorcycle, and he had never been on one before. And he quickly found it exhilarating and became passionate about motorcycles and collected a few, which he held in his investment offices at the Crescent here in Dallas. And then when he got to about 11 motorcycles, he decided he wanted to open a gallery and keep collecting. So that's when I entered the picture. And we first opened a smaller gallery in the Design District, a couple blocks from the old museum, and it housed about 50 cycles. And he did not want to stop collecting. So we then decided to take the big jump and do a large museum, a museum like no one had done before. And that's where the 25,000 square foot facility was on Oak Lawn that opened in 2018.
This guy jumps in with both feet. Yeah, absolutely incredible background about him. And the museum that was before the new museum that you put together, that had how many bikes in it again?
Around 50.
Around 50.
It was more of a gallery. It was 5,000 square feet. And it was beautiful and finished out, but it quickly became not enough for us.
Was that a way to share the passion for bikes with anyone who wanted to come and take a look at this?
Yes. Yes, he started collecting and realized the beauty of these machines, and eventually it was meant to be a gallery in a design district in Dallas, where more a showroom where people could come and enjoy what he was collecting. But that passion just kept growing, and so the collection kept growing, and so then the building had to grow, and now here we are.
Here we are. Well, now there's over 230. Do I have that number right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, things got out of control a little bit, I think. Holy cow. And I also understand there's a premier array of metallic sculptures, or are you calling the bikes metallic sculptures?
Well, the bikes are sculptures. They're works of art to me, this rolling sculpture. But we also have art that complements the museum. We have various paintings and found metal sculptures, interesting pieces that we found from around the world.
So as you decided to create this new museum, which again, I got to encourage everyone when you get to Texas, go visit this place, but you can go to the website and see some teaser shots right now of what's coming. This new museum, what makes this different? Because motorcycle museums, there's not a whole lot of them. Of course, there's the huge one that we all know about, but that's more industrial. And this museum, you've really treated this almost like an art museum.
Yes. And as I said before, I look at these motorcycles as art. I'm not so much into the way that they function as I am to the way that they look and the stories behind them. It's amazing to me to look at some of these historical bikes and think, who rode that? What did that look like back in the day and in that area of the world? And that type of history really intrigues me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the kinds of bikes people might expect to see, because there is a wide variety. And some of the bikes I've seen in the pictures, I've never seen bikes that look like that before. And I've had a lot of motorcycle people on the show, including some builders that build some just wild, crazy things that you look at and go, Really? Oh my gosh, the imagination. But it seems like you guys touch on history, but also things like that, bikes that you just look at and go, where did this come from?
Right. So when we first started collecting, we were collecting vintage bikes only. We had a couple of customs, but not many. We were focused on vintage, and the curation was focused on representing, as many countries as we can from around the world, and in as many decades as we could. And so there was always gaps we were looking for that we would want to fill. As the museum got going, we started commissioning more custom motorcycles and meeting more custom builders through one of our original custom builders, Max Hazen, who's one of the best in the world and a dear friend. So he started to introduce us to more custom builders, and Bobby and I got very excited about going to meet these people. And Bobby had this model of a Medici where he wanted to go and say, what is your dream bike? Let's go ahead and build it and put it in the museum. And that was unheard of in the custom world at that time. So the museum really began to tell us what it wanted to be. And our custom collection is the largest in the world. And we're very proud of that. That was built organically. We never set out with that intention. It just became that way.
Now, were a lot of these bikes, or all the bikes that you guys rode? Or some bikes never been ridden? They're more like a piece of art?
The the bikes have, it depends on the bike. We never ride these bikes ourselves. We do have an in-house mechanic named Sparky. He's our chief engineer.
I saw him in a video.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he takes care of the bike. Yeah, so Sparky diligently maintains the bikes and makes sure that they don't seize. He periodically starts them up, but we do not ride them. But before they came to be part of the collection, they were ridden, the vintage ones and some of the customs. But no, we hands off when it comes to that here.
They're works of art. Now, I understand you have, as part of the museum, the Biker Boy Shop. Now, is that a place where people can go and buy things? 'Cause I've seen things for sale on your website, some very cool leather jackets. Of course, the beautiful book that you put together is wonderful. I love, when I go to museums, I always buy the book about the museum because you can go back and kind of relive that and go through that and so forth. What are the different aspects of the museum that a visitor can experience?
Well, something new that we have in the museum that we didn't have before is a 10,000 square foot shop space, which is where Sparky and custom builder Craig Rodsmith, who is now with the Haas Moto Museum team, they have shop space now where they will build and maintain and restore and do all the things on site, and people can observe that in a fishbowl kind of fashion. They've got glass doors where you can see in. Mm-hmm. And hopefully in the future, we'll be holding some metal shaping classes and other things of that nature in the shop. So it's a huge new thing that we're offering now at the museum that we didn't have before.
I'm excited by that because if you've ever been to, or if you know about Bruce Canepa, who builds and restores some amazing automobiles and a lot of vintage race cars, he has the same thing at his facility where you can go and walk a catwalk and look down at all the wonderful cars being worked on. And there's times where they have people can walk you through to look at the cars and so forth. And during Car Week, Pebble Beach Car Week, they're open to visitors and so forth. And for me, as a passionate person for cars and motorcycles, that's really cool to go behind the scenes. So I'm so happy that you have that. And then, what comes to mind is trying to bring young people into this field is to have shop classes or things where you can also bring young people in to get them excited and say, look, there going to be a career in this area or this field.
Absolutely. Although ask any custom builder and they'll tell you, if you want to make money, don't go into the business because they all do it for the passion of it. But it's, it takes money to build these, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and they all still keep doing it because they love it so much.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot like being an artist. Very difficult to make a living being an artist. But some people have figured it out and pulled it off. So you just have to kind of stick with it. You also have the ability for people to come in and have private events?
Yes. So we do this at the Pryor Museum also. We do private events up to 140 people, I think is probably the sweet spot right now. We do have a huge outdoor space here at the museum that will be finished out next year. So we plan to expand to use that with food trucks and hopefully do some ride-ins and things of that nature.
So you're going to be open starting this Saturday, November 9th. That's your regular hours, I understand, are 10 to 5, Thursday through Sunday. You got a
Yes.
website, and we'll put links to that. But again, for you listeners, easy to find, Haas, Haas Moto Museum. Go and check them out. And again, if you're in the Texas state, it's a big state, but you got to get over to Dallas and go check this out. It's absolutely wonderful. I like to ask people about what I call our driving inspirations, or in the case, since we're talking motorcycles, riding inspirations. Has there been, and I think the answer is probably pretty obvious here, but maybe not. Has there been one person, major influence on your life that really has steered you down a path? I'm guessing it's Bobby.
You know the answer to that.
Yeah.
My one and only.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet?
We met through a mutual connection, and it was kismet. We immediately knew we wanted to work together. He was looking for someone as a right-hand person to help build this smaller gallery. And I went in and spoke with him one day, and every day from there on out, we were on a mission.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, before that, was your career in museums, or what was your background? Where did you come from?
No. I actually worked in retail management, and I'm a mother of 2 wonderful children, and I had no experience with motorcycles until then. I do have a creative background, but nothing with the moto world.
So did you ever kind of pinch yourself and say, how did I end up here?
Every morning.
Every morning, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Every morning. I had to wake up and go to work with my best friend, and we traveled the world, and it was a whirlwind. I mean, I'm glad that we lived in dog years, so to speak, because we packed a lot into all the time we had together.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Absolutely fantastic. Obviously challenging, not only losing Bobby, but then having to find a way to bring this back and make this all come to fruition, which my hat's off to you. You pulled a huge rabbit out of a hat, the way I look at this. When we talk about challenges, I like to ask people what the biggest challenge in their life was and talk about it a little bit. And I don't do it so much to bring it up the past, but it's more, how did you overcome it? And more importantly, what did it teach you? Because challenges can be looked at both ways. You can see it as a huge defeat or as an incredible learning lesson to move forward and to share that learning lesson with others, which is our goal today. Inspiring automotive enthusiasts is the slogan here at Cars Yeah. So if you could talk about, in your life, biggest challenge you faced, and then what was the lesson there, and how did that help you move forward in a very positive way?
So I'll start by giving you a little adage from Bobby. And Bobby would always say, find your passion and pursue it with excellence as your standard. And that has always been the standard which we have conducted our curating and our team and everything that goes along with it. So he set the bar high. And I'm not going to say it was a challenge, but it was always a goal to keep the bar that high and to follow that standard, that standard of excellence. So losing him was a shock, and it was tragic and unexpected. And not only did I lose my business partner, I lost the love of my life. So I was dealing with things. It was a double whammy. We also have a very small team that is family. We are close. We are small and mighty. And I was concerned about them as well. So per Bobby's estate planning, the museum carried on regular operations it was up to 3 years. We did so for about 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. That in of itself was a huge challenge because I was grieving. I didn't know, there were days where I just wanted to walk away from all of it and throw it in because I couldn't take it anymore. Bobby and I shared an office in the museum. And so every day for 2.5 years, I would sit in my desk across from his empty desk. I was too stubborn, and I didn't want to change anything in the office either. Every day was a challenge, but it's important to put your best foot forward and know that one day you're going to wake up and see things a little bit differently and feel better. And even if that takes a long time, you get there. So that being said, the biggest challenge, I think, was as we approached the end of that 2.5 years, there were some huge decisions to make. And listening to our guests that would come in the museum and getting the hundreds of emails that I did and the comments on social media, the general consensus was everybody was really adamant about wanting to see the collection stay together. And I wasn't sure. There's always things with estates and there's things with business. There's all these moving parts. I wasn't sure if the best option was to send this collection to an auction house such as Bonham's, and every bike goes somewhere else in the world, and it's like a little piece of the Haas going all around the world. That's the way that I was trying to look at it. Or if we should find a way to keep the collection together as the public was hoping for. And, luckily the stars aligned and we were able to come together with a group of investors. They understand the passion. And so we were able to come up with a plan to move forward and move into a larger space. The collection is still the same size, but the building is slightly bigger.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you found a way to do this and to work through this. Do you think that because of Bobby's obvious zest and passion for doing things and setting that bar high, was that a big help to you to realize I need to find a way to do this? This is what he would have wanted?
Absolutely. But I think him allotting for the 3-year time period after his passing for us to continue operations, he and I had many conversations before he passed away about the someday things, right? And in his mind, he thought that would give me time to figure out the next steps, but he didn't want me to feel stuck in that either. If I was at a point where I was ready to move on and do something non-related or carry on with my life in some other way, he didn't want me to feel obligated to continue this. But the passion and the energy that I was infected with through him has not subsided, and I knew it's what I wanted to do going forward. And I wanted to make sure that the team could stay together because I cannot take credit for this on my own. I mean, this team has held me up. They have helped build this. They have been instrumental in everything that you see in this building.
As you said, a family.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I like to ask people about a special vehicle in their life. You are surrounded by special vehicles. This may be a challenging one, whether it's a car or a motorcycle, but I'd love for you to pick one vehicle that really stands out for you and share a little story about that ride.
So people have asked this question hundreds of times, and Bobby and I would always say, we can't do that. It's like saying you have a favorite child, and they'll hear us and they'll get their feelings hurt.
I understand.
So I don't have a favorite. We have so many beautiful bikes. Every single one of them has a story and a special place in my heart. There are 3 that Bobby designed through Strokers Dallas that I have heartstrings attached to, obviously, because it's his creativity and they're all things that he worked so passionately on. So the Rocket and the King and the Predator are the 3 that hold this most special place in my heart.
Very cool. Awesome. And obviously those are in the museum, right?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. So I'm going to crawl into your head and be a bit of a car psychologist. I have a special degree on the wall. I use my Photoshop skills to create it. So it's not really from any school or anything like that. The School of Cars, yeah. But I'm going to crawl into your head and be a car psychologist and ask you this. If you were reincarnated, or in the case of a motorcycle, maybe you're a motorcycle, what would you be, but more importantly, why? And this isn't what vehicle you would want to be. This is your personality wrapped into some kind of vehicle, and you get to explain why you believe your kindred spirit is that ride.
That's a tough one. Well, I mean, I'm a free spirit, and when Bobby was here, he had 3 personal sidecars that he would ride, and I would always ride in the sidecar with him. I often wanted to learn to ride myself, but he was too scared to allow me to do that, or agree for me to do that, I should say. I'm currently learning how to ride myself now because he's not here for me to ride with. And I do have one of his Harley sidecars, the Fat Boy, that I'm learning on, and I love to ride on it. But number 1, it brings back so many memories. But number 2, I am determined to get my dog in the sidecar and hit the road. So I am very much an animal person, and I see frequently people riding down the road with their dogs in a sidecar, and I want to do that as well.
Well, I'll tell you, in our pre-show chat, I discussed this with you. Just got back from a good friend's wedding. She was the first woman here on Cars, Diane Brandon. And she used to ride motorcycles, big bikes. And she had this little dog, a little white fuzzy dog. I don't know the name of it, but had big white hair. And she had a little leather box that she had made that she mounted on the seat behind her. And the dog had goggles and leather helmet. And she would put that dog in there and his head would stick out and then kind of had a little, it was kind of not tight around his neck, but it kept him in the box so he was safe. She hit a bump, he didn't fly off and so forth. And she'd go riding with that. I'll send you a picture of that. I think it'll make you smile.
I would love it. Yes, that is my goal. I've already bought the doggles and tried them. I have a black lab named Doc, and I often call him Documental, but he is a wonderful dog, and he will do great in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, Diane, I know you're listening. Congratulations on your wedding with John. Wonderful event. So, helping others give back. Will there be some type of philanthropic element to the museum?
We're still working on that. There absolutely will be. Bobby, we're working on that.
You
yes.
are. Okay, good. I kind of figured you would be. Now, I always ask my guests for a great book recommendation, and I really want to promote this book you put together. It's titled The Motorcycle, 120 Years of Motorized Masterpieces from the Haas Moto Museum. It's available on your website right now. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, wonderful book. So I'll put a link to that on the show notes page here for Stacey, so you can go and get your hands on that. Maybe it'd be a great precursor to before you go to visit the museum to get this, to be able to look through the bikes and see it. So great job on that. So let's go on the ultimate drive. I want to have some fun before I let you go today. I'm going to enable you to go on the ultimate drive. Here's what this means. You can take any vehicle you'd like. You can go anywhere in the world, and you can take anybody with you, including somebody from the past, like Bobby. What does the ultimate ride or drive look like for Stacey?
Well, I love to travel, so anywhere. I love a good road trip.
Yeah, well, Europe or South America or the United States, great places to ride here. I'm going to foot the bill for this, so don't worry about the cost. It's all covered.
Probably a moto trip around Italy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Northern Italy, I've got to spend some time, not on bikes, but in cars. In fact, I almost did a trip in Germany where you go over and they have BMW motorcycles and you take a tour, a week-long tour on motorcycles. To this day, I still wish I would have done that when I had the opportunity. But so somewhere in Italy, would you be on a motorcycle?
I would.
Yeah. And what kind of bike do you think?
Probably a Moto Guzzi.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, some great classic Moto Guzzis that I've been lucky enough to be around. And I'm assuming you'd be with Bobby, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Although he's always with me, so no worries there.
There you go. Always in your heart. So before I let you go today, and I really, really appreciate you spending some time and sharing some personal stories with us, and I'm just super excited about what you pulled off here, and your team, of course. You can't do it alone. Some wonderful teams in this new Haas Moto Museum. Could you leave us with some parting words of wisdom or inspiration? You did say that one quote of Bobby's, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. Find your passion and pursue it with excellence as your standard.
There you go. Pretty simple.
It's a good way to live.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll make sure that all of this is posted on your show notes page. And how can people learn more about the museum and this opening coming up on the 9th?
The best way is to follow us on Instagram or go to our website.
Okay. And I'll put links to those. Very easy to find, though, for you listeners. And I want to do a shout out thank you to Kelly Hunter at SunWest Communications. She's the one that got Stacey and I together today. So, Kelly, thank you very much. Stacey, thanks for taking a little pit stop. No doubt you're very busy with this opening coming up, but I really appreciate you pulling the bike over and jumping off and talking with me today. Absolutely fantastic. And again, what you guys have pulled off and what is going to happen in the future for this museum, I'm very, very excited for all of you. Thanks for sharing some time with me, sharing your passion with us. And until you and I talk again, I usually say I'll see you down the road, but I'll see you at the Haas Moto Museum.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. This has been fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.